Good evening. Welcome to the Town of Penfield Parks and Recreation Advisory Board Committee meeting. Today is October 14th at 6 p.m. and we are at the Town Hall. The first thing we're going to cover is any additions or deletions to the agenda. The only thing I have is Steve's going to talk for a couple minutes about some disc golf, so we'll wait down towards the end for that.
Hey, Bill.
Yes.
If you don't mind, what I would like to do, though, is recognize that Ed Lindskog was a member of the Trails Committee for potentially for as long as the Trail Committee has been around. No one really remembers how long. He passed away last week, so just wanted to make sure that people knew that.
Condolences to his family.
Yes, thank you.
Moving on, we'll approve the minutes from September 9th. Everybody had a chance to review those, and Don made any corrections or deletions that we needed, so no problems there?
We're good.
Okay. Next, we're going to go into the discussion, and I'm going to turn it over to Don. He's going to talk about some updates for the Trails Committee.
All right, thank you, Bill.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, so we've had, since the last meeting, 2 of our Trails Committee guided hikes in September. So Saturday, September 13th, we hiked Shadow Pines South property. And we had a beautiful, sunny, warm September day. We had 16 hikers, 8 from the community, 8 from the Trails Committee. As that property always shows well, lots of people like to ask questions, the lodge, the barn, the projects, all that. So there's lots to see, lots to talk about. So I think that was another good hike. 2.7 miles and an hour and 45 minutes is what I tracked for that. Last Saturday, we hiked in Ellison Park, the Coyote Den Trail. We had not quite as nice a day, but it didn't rain. It was pretty overcast, comfortable temperatures. So, the leaves, given how warm it's been this fall, everything was still kind of green. We liked that hike, the overlook for all the leaves and the views out over the reservoir and things. But it was a nice hike. We had 15 hikers, 9 from the community, 6 from the Trails Committee, 3.5 miles. So we covered some good ground for that one, an hour and 45 minutes. Our next hike, again, we do these hikes through the Trails Committee the second Saturday of every month. So that would be November 8th. We do Channing Philbrick Park, and it will be a history hike. So Anna Jarvis from the History Department will be there to start, and we'll meet in the lodge. She'll have a presentation and some question and answer, and then we'll hike the new bridge, get to show that off. And that's, the park is sort of in the middle, so we do one leg each way. It's about 2 miles each. So some people just do one of those legs. The whole thing would be 4 miles if people want to do all of it. And then our December 13th hike, the last one of the year, is at Sherwood Fields.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see what's next. So Ginny's Honey Creek Trail. So Ginny is Virginia Winterdink, and many people know her quite fondly. She's been part of the Trails Committee, I think, also from its inception, from what I understand. She's an energetic, strong advocate for many, many years. And the Honey Creek Trail, which runs from 5 Mile Line Road up near the Flower Barn down to Channing Philbrick Park, is really, she was the main driver and the main reason that trail is there. So in recognition of all that she's put in, we've had a plaque made, and that's been mounted in the kiosk up at 5 Mile Line Road. And we've renamed it Ginny's Honey Creek Trail. And we're going to have a little recognition ceremony tomorrow, which happens to align with her 103rd birthday.
Oh,
how about that?
Happy birthday, Jenny.
And so she will be there. And, the Trails Committee, those who aren't working or whatever, who can attend. And she's got some friends. I know Mike Cooper is planning on being there. He was one of the founders of the Trails Committee with her. And I think the town will have some representation from what Joel told me.
I'll be working, but I'll be at the event, yes.
Okay. Yeah.
What I can tell you, about 10 years ago, she was still maintaining that trail.
Right.
So if you think of...
Where's the trail again? Where's from?
So
From
if you
5
can
Mile?
picture where Flower Barn is, that little plaza on 5 Mile Line just south of 441.
Okay.
There's a little plaza on the right. There's the Italian restaurant in there.
Right, right.
Just past that, literally just past that, there's a kiosk and a trailhead. It's pretty narrow, and then you get into houses, so it's easy to miss it.
Okay.
But that trail kind of winds behind all the businesses up on 441.
Okay.
And then at the end, it drops down, and it joins up with the Channing Philbrick Park down at the bottom.
In the bottom, okay.
Yeah.
So it's parallel to like Mott's Lane, then basically kind of runs
Yeah,
across?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and it kind of
Yeah.
angles down into the
Yeah, if you're
creek.
trying to get to Channing Philbrick from 5 Mile, that's the scenic route, rather than going on the sidewalk with the 4-lane cars, so.
Yeah.
Uh,
So then there's paths from those apartments, that
Okay,
that are
yeah,
just,
yeah.
they kind of come in below the trailhead, and that's where she lives, I believe. And so that was part of the initiative, was to give those folks a nice hiking opportunity right from where they live, right? So, yeah. So anyway, so that's tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Trail maps update, Shadow Pines property north, right? So the town is going through, the town engineer or junior engineer is updating all of the trail maps. And so that's what's going on there. But we also, the Trails Committee took on in conjunction with a Girl Scout, want to formalize the trail system on Shadow Pines North now that the pickleball courts are done, the disc golf course is in. So we have an opportunity to formalize that, and the Girl Scouts offered to help with that. And so I think, Bob, you had a meeting?
I met with the Girl Scout last Friday, and her mother talked through what she was thinking. This is for the Gold Award for the Girl Scouts. So we talked through what she was thinking and some ideas that she had, some ideas that I had of how we can make that trail system better understood, better maps, maybe some signage, things like that. So she's going to go off and think about it. She's a sophomore, so she's got a couple of years to finish the Gold Award. She's not up against an 18th birthday or something. So probably sometime next year she'll get actively involved in thinking about what she wants to do with that, and we'll definitely get more information.
Okay. Does she need anything? I know we'd asked for maybe as close a map as we could get to what is there today.
I did actually teach her how to go onto the Penfield GIS maps,
Okay,
because that seems to be the best we have at the moment.
okay, good.
Bob, something that I've run into walking and running around Shadow Pines North is a couple of times I've run into people who have walked from the pickleball parking lot and kind of gotten stuck over by the disc golf course and said, how do I get back? Do I have to go all the way up to the Clark house? So if,
That's exactly, I think, what we want to try to solve.
yeah,
I did suggest to her that she go take a look at Webster's Whiting Road and Gosnell Big Woods. Those are very well marked.
Yeah.
Some nice little trail signage. And suggest, maybe that's an idea that she might want to pursue.
okay.
Okay, anything else, Don?
No, I'm just looking at the agenda. So there is a 1,000-acre swamp to Rothfuss Park connection trail. I think we feel like we talked about that last month.
Yeah.
There's really no change at this
No
point.
change,
The
yeah.
1,000-acre, the Nature Conservancy has someone under contract to do a design plan. It's expected to be completed in the spring, at which point they put out an RFP for cost and build. So it's moving.
All right, so it's probably next agenda, we can put that as a held item?
Yeah, I
Unless there's
think
any
so.
changes, right?
Sure.
Okay, next we have the Penfield Parks and Properties updates. Andrew, you want to take that one?
Tim's not here. I'll try to do my best to answer some of the questions if you have any. But I did just want to highlight, I know Don already mentioned, but the Channing Philbrick Bridge project was completed. It was opened with a ribbon cutting ceremony. I've heard so many positive things. Of course, if you look at the bridges that were there, there's only one way to go, is up. But no, I think just a great great job by the town of Penfield, the engineering department, Tim and the Parks Department, working with Parrington as well to connect to Spring Lake, just all good things. So excited to hear how the hike goes in November, but really just a great group effort. So thanks for the town board for greenlighting that. And I know Don, 3 to 4 years ago when we were starting to talk about it at the Trails Committee, was a real big push and advocate for that project. So thank you, Don, Bob, and the committee. For the Clark House project update, really no major updates other than the recent walkthrough that I was a part of. Just got to see some of the basic layout as we start to kind of figure out, how is this going to be used, pricing and things like that as we look for this to open up in the fall of 2026. So we are not planning on, when we open up the lodges, to have any reservations like we normally do in December for residents for that specific lodge, just because it's not potentially going to be completed until the fall. But I'm sure the town will be communicating once we get close to that about the reservation process, pricing and details and things like that. But I think it's going to be a really, really, really cool spot in Penfield on that property to have a nice lodge, public bathrooms and things like that, and have the parking lot open again for disc golf, for cross country and all of that fun stuff that we're going through in the fall.
The construction has been great to see going along, and the
been pretty
patio
incredible.
area that's kind of forming now just looks perfect for that area overlooking the whole park area. So it's going to be a great facility.
Yeah, and I think even the last couple of days, they've been moving a lot of the earth with some of the parking and roadways starting to get kind of curbed out. I know we had shut down the entrance to the main parking lot for them to do curbing up to the road. So I do think it's going to start to look on the exterior, what it's going to be from an outside perspective, and then they'll work on the inside over the winter. But just exciting stuff. We're looking forward to that being open for the community next year in the fall.
Andy, do you know the capacity of that room?
It was something that we discussed with it still just being out there in design and being construction. I don't want to put a number to it yet. Obviously, the fire marshal and inspectors have to go through. I know it's going to be a lot larger than our current lodges. So our current lodges hold 99, so more than that. Obviously, a potential wedding venue, large meeting space. So again, I don't want to put a specific number, but larger than we currently have. So,
Is Dolomite the largest? Is that the one you're?
Dolomite and Harris both are a capacity of 99.
Okay. So it would be similar, basically one room with a kitchen and then bathrooms, roughly?
This is going to have some added features, being able to kind of go out to a little bit of a deck area to look out towards the west of the property, which is some good views and good pictures, things like that. Also attaching the actual historic Clark House. Those rooms are going to be updated, most likely not going to be a part of the reservation, just there for potential use for the town in the future from a historical standpoint, but we're still kind of navigating some of those things, but just exciting stuff to have another amenity for programs, for the community, for meeting space, stuff like that.
Thank you.
So Shadow Pines property shared multi-use trail project. I just wanted to highlight that we're working on putting together an RFP to go out for the next set of designs that were recommended by Further Trail Services to this committee, and then this committee then seconded that recommendation. So I met with the town board at a work session last month. Tim and I will be putting together an RFP, sending it out, and then all the information that we get back from that RFP on concept, or engineering designs, excuse me, we will then go to the town board and have a discussion on those. But exciting to be at least looking at the next phases based on this committee's recommendation for that side of the property.
That would include cost information? That,
Yep.
when do you think that RFP will go out? Just
We're hoping before the end of the year and giving a month to 2 months to get the information back. So sometime in early 2026. I know the January meetings are a little bit much for town board, just with a lot of the yearly annual things to go through. So most likely February or March, we're kind of targeting to go to that stuff. But exciting just to kind of see that kind of move forward. And then the other piece that we put to that trail project is the Southside Shadow Pines revitalization. Just wanted to mention that we're continuing to work with Penfield Color Green and Monroe County Healthy Yards with Megan, with Keith, with Jill. We're really looking at that south side on removing invasives, how we can start some natural plant growth there, revitalizing that. Tim and the Parks Department did just mow some of the south side. That was a planned mow. We're still doing the same things, following the protocols for the monarch butterfly pledge. But with that, right before the mowing happened, we met with Penfield Color Green, targeted some spots for the future, and just really excited kind of for that area to start to potentially be meadows and natural flowers and things like that, and getting rid of the invasives. So I cannot thank Penfield Color Green, Megan, and the rest of the crew for their devotion, their time and effort, and of course working with Tim and I on a weekly, if not monthly basis. So it's all good stuff.
So once those areas are identified, they're doing like organized group sessions there to start pulling and planting and.
Yep,
all that.
most of that has just been on the south side, closest to Whalen Road. Again, with such a large amount of space, really just targeting, see what we can do well, trying to get our feet wet, and just in terms of, okay, how do we do this in this one location? A lot of the stuff is very overgrown, so some of it requires the town to kind of step in and do some of the removal of the invasives, but working with them and other groups has been great.
It's very labor intensive, as you can imagine. But they have 2 work groups a month, like the second Saturday or third Saturday and the second Wednesday, something like that.
I'm assuming they're the ones that are putting the little cages out there?
Yeah.
Because I see those in a bunch of different spots. I mean, quite a ways in.
Yep. So
And along
again,
the creek and everything?
Again, that's their efforts, and they've been doing it since June, meeting with groups twice a month. I am happy to report that Nick Valentine, who proposed his Eagle Scout project for the Southside Kiosk, completed that 2 weekends ago. So we're hoping to have a lot of that information about the plantings and the work that those groups are doing on the south side in those kiosks starting either this fall or over the winter and next spring, just to highlight, hey, let's meet there, kind of talk about what they're doing, so get a lot more people that are walking through to understand what they're doing.
So I had a couple of things on that, and you brought it up, so I'm going to get you with it. The kiosk, I just went by this afternoon, looks great. Did a fantastic
It's
job
all Nick,
on it.
Eagle Scout, yep, great job.
Yeah, definitely. I think there is still a significant issue with the drainage
Yep.
in there, and I see somebody tried to drain it back into the creek.
Yep.
But, I mean,
So-
access from that parking lot back around into the back is almost, you can't hardly get back there.
I know that the town has looked into it in the multiple conversations that I've had with Tim and DPW. It is a water authority issue. There is a leak that they have been made aware of. I understand that they're very, very busy, but they're aware of it. And I
Okay.
think the town is waiting for them to come in, look at it on their level, and then address it after
So
the
it's not
fact.
just runoff, there's an actual water leak?
I believe it's unknown, but from what I've heard, things are pointing to it's most likely a leak, but can't speak to anything like that. But
That
that's
would make
kind of the
sense.
wait, because we've heard about it too, and every time we're down there, I'm the dummy who wore, sneakers or something, and I'm doing high knees around that area. But I know Tim's on it. He's communicated to the water authority and talked to other DPW staff as well. I know it's not solving a problem, but we're aware and it's on someone's list to look at. So hopefully we'll have more info sooner rather than later.
Excellent. The other question I had, circling back to the color Penfield green, is that something that we could get an update from them on
Yep.
at some point?
So it was actually something that we were going to have them potentially present. They had requested at the last meeting to present.
Okay.
We met instead just to make sure we were all on the same page after the summer, but the hope would be at a future meeting for them to report, whether on a seasonal or an annual or however long,
Yeah, that would
to
be
give
great.
reports, because we know it's going to take a while.
Right.
But yeah, that's in the works.
That would give them a little extra exposure and maybe pull some other people in that would be able
Definitely.
to help.
Yep.
Excellent.
You know, one other thing you didn't mention, but I think their last work group, or one of the recent ones, they had both Cub Scouts and Girl Scouts helping, you know, so
Perfect.
a good educational opportunity, right? Get the kids out working
Yeah.
and get their hands in the dirt and all that, too, so.
Yeah, I think there's one on Friday as well during the day, where some kids are going to go out and spread some seeds there as well, working through them. So, all good stuff.
I have a question. How about the maintenance barn? That came up in our Shadows hike, as you would imagine, and,
The south side or the one in the main
South.
parking lot?
well.
The south side, the one that's down by the creek in that area.
No, not the across the street from the Clark house.
The falling apart.
Oh, the Clark barn.
The Clark barn.
I do not have any updates on that.
Okay.
I think it's,
I'd heard that it was targeted to be taken down in the fall of '25, but clearly it hasn't
I can't.
happened yet.
Yeah, I know we
First
haven't-
snowfall might happen.
I know I'm on.
Yeah.
I know I'm on the committee from the town side of things. I haven't heard
Okay.
When they're going to get started?
much. I think the last thing we heard, and if I'm speaking out of turn,
No,
you know,
go
Linda,
ahead.
but I think that it was brought to the board about, you know, bringing it down and keeping the beams and
Right.
salvaging those as best as possible, but I don't know where it went from there.
Yeah, the board approved a company, the RFP, to disassemble it, carefully take it to see what they could save, but I don't know the status of when they're going to get started.
Okay.
Yeah, I did happen to look up, and the resolution said it'd be done in the summer of 2025, so apparently missed that one.
Oh, I don't think we hit that. Wow, yeah. I'll check with Bob
Yeah.
Moore. He's supposed to be the project manager for it, so
Yeah.
I'm sure that's just the company getting it in their schedule.
Does anyone know what the full resolution would end up being? Is it going to be a full raz and just taking it right down to the foundation? And because I've seen some old barns where they've removed the timbers, left some of the foundation, and it's actually, it looks quite nice. I mean, it's kind of a really neat, just little area.
Right.
I don't know if any,
I don't know.
No, I can go back and look at what it was to the level of detail once you get down to that foundation and get down to the
yeah,
bottom of
just
it.
how far they're going to take it
How,
down
what
and-
what shape it's in. I know they're going to have to do some work from a safety perspective just to keep it safe. I think ideally is they do want to save as much as possible and store it, but it's going to be interesting because that's the other thing. We've got to find a place to store these beams.
Yeah.
With hopefully someday being able to resurrect the likeness of it or do something, but that's out there.
Yeah. Thank you.
Everybody all set? Okay. Andrew, we'll go back to you for the Penfield Recs update.
So parks related, but still wanted to mention just under recreation is the Greenwood pickleball court, basketball court renovations, and the resurfacing has been completed. I believe nets were put on at the end of last week, so they are up and running. Of course, with it being October, we're usually starting to shut down tennis courts, basketball courts as early as November 1st. Tim and the parks crew kind of monitor the weather just to see, the best time frame. If we can extend it into November, I know that's the case. We typically, or at least last year, we left open Greenwood Park tennis/pickleball courts and 4 of the new Shadow Pines pickleball courts. I'm not sure, but I think with the resurfacing of Greenwood, we're probably going to lock those and keep those shut this year. I'll confirm that with Tim. We're definitely going to be keeping open a portion of the Shadow Pines pickleball courts We haven't decided how many or which ones yet, but we'll be working that in the next couple weeks, and then possibly keeping Veterans Memorial open as another option, as those courts are potentially going to be resurfaced next year. But we'll have more updates with that. With that, it's also portable restrooms that we have at various parks and properties. Those also start to get removed by the company in November. Currently, I think we have 6 locations where they're at. I think the only one we plan to leave is possibly Shadow Pines at the main parking lot, just because we know disc golf continues to play over the winter, and people like to access that, and we still don't have public bathrooms technically at the main lot, as we do have them on the north side, but that's a little bit of a walk for people, so that's probably the only portable restroom that we'll keep. So for fall programming and 2025 revenue review, fall programs are going well. I'm happy to report that at the end of September, we are only $50,000 away from our revenue goal that we proposed in our budget. So hopefully, knock on wood, we can get the remaining 50 in the next 3 months to round out a good year. Just can't thank the Penfield Recreation staff, volunteers, all of our committees, just a great group effort to provide all of our programming, events, and things like that, especially with kind of a new budget this year, with it being increased a little bit. So very thankful that we're able to meet some of those revenue goals. Looking towards our upcoming winter and spring 2026 brochure, we are currently working on programming for that. That kind of follows January all the way until the end of May for programming. We also put things in the summer like summer camp, summer swim, and summer soccer programs, so there are some summer programs in there. We are hoping to start registration for our normal winter-spring programs in December. It would be the 8th, I believe, of December. It's the second Monday in December for residents, and then the 15th of December would be for non-residents. The only thing that we're holding off is summer camp. I know we had a lot of technical issues last year, and thank you, Julie, for calling and making sure we were doing the right thing. So we are working through some of those technicalities with our IT department. I am going to report that we've still been having issues with our registration website. Really, since about June, it's been off and on with our servers. So we continue to work with our IT, and we're planning on doing a major update tomorrow. So our registration system will be offline tomorrow for reservations and recreation registration, hoping that that kind of updates everything as we look towards winter, spring registration opening up in December. Also, all of our open shelters and enclosed lodges will open in early December on the 3rd of December. It's the first Wednesday at 10 a.m. online for residents. So a lot of registration things coming up. We're working on some IT stuff. But if you have any questions or issues, just call the rec department. We're hoping to keep the same timeline for summer camp, being in that late February, early March for registration. This year, of course, just making sure that our servers aren't overloaded and the amount of people that are going online can handle that.
Can I ask a question?
Yep.
How did the process go this past year? Did you think that it was better or worse? Were there less people sort of signing up and then backing out? Did you notice any sort of difference with the change of timing?
I think because of the first day issues,
Yeah.
I definitely think it wasn't a win by any means. I do think some of the reasons why we changed it from December to March, less changes, I think there's a lot of potential there, and it would have worked, but obviously with the technical issues, we were moving things around so often that.
Did you have more staff signed up by the time March rolled around, or
We
still
did.
sort of the same?
That helped. And I know we've already started to reach out about next year, and we're hoping to have enough to even put out potentially a third site. It may not be in the brochure, but at least we would start registration in March. So I think there were a lot of right reasons for doing it in March. It'll be around that same time. Again, just making sure that the system works. We heard some other feedback about Instead of registering just week by week, is there an option for kind of all weeks? So we're looking into how to program around that, but
I can say
good
there was
stuff.
there's like a waiver, right? And so if you sign up for it, you had to click through the waiver
Every
like
time.
6 or 7 times for each week, and it's
Right.
like, just give me one.
I get you. Working through some of those details, yes, but, because that same thing happens for lodges when people
Yeah.
get multiple lodges, so never going to be perfect, but please, any more feedback from anyone, not just summer camp, but any registration, always looking to get better, but the hope would be is if we figure this all out by December, and then when March comes in for summer camp, we'll be okay.
Where's the potential third location?
We're hoping Harris Whalen Enclosed Lodge. Last year, when we got really close, it would be potentially 50-ish participants, so, it's a decent amount when you look at our wait list to help support that. But we are confirmed to be at Scribner again next year, which was a great site, and at the community center. And then lastly, we have our family Halloween event at the Penfield Community Center this Friday, October 17th. It's from 6 to 8 p.m. Weather looks great. It's indoors and outdoors, great event. There's always a game down at the high school, so it's cool to have the lights on down there. There's hay rides, a bunch of activities indoor and outdoor at the community center, so stop on by. That's all I got.
Okay, thank you very much, appreciate it. Active transportation update? Anything on that?
You want me to talk about it?
Yeah, sure, if you have something, yeah.
Yeah, so the town has contracted Collier Design, I believe is the company, to create an active transportation plan. So active transportation is really kind of conceptually, you can think of getting places without a vehicle, right, non-motorized. So mostly hiking and biking, but school, other things too, I suppose, wheelchairs. I think their target is to have a plan, a concept, or initial draft maybe by January, February, to review with the town board and try to wrap it up by spring. They had a stakeholders meeting that Bill participated in, representing the advisory committee. I supported that meeting for the Trails Committee. I think Reconnect Rochester was there, Rochester Bike Alliance, EECC, also from the town. Through the town, it's running through the Transportation Board, right? And so it was a very energetic discussion, a lot of passionate people. I think the focus probably is on bike safety and bike lanes and traffic calming and those types of things. But I know from the Trails Committee, I talked about the off-road paths and how we could maybe just keep people off the roads altogether. And, the Shady Rock, Fallbrook, near and dear to you, and, connecting neighborhoods to schools and to sidewalk networks and things. And so there's, independent of the design firm that we're having a follow-up meeting next week, I think it is.
I believe so, yeah.
Just among all the stakeholders. So, that's a indication of the energy and the interest that this has. And, we'll see where it lands, but it's it definitely hits a chord with a lot of people.
Yeah, I think, most of us, there was a lot of different things we can do. So I think a lot of us are just trying to figure out what are the easy things to take care of first, low cost, big impact, and then what are the 2 or 3 big rocks, and come up with a game plan. So I think that was kind of the direction we gave the design firm, I would say in general. So be interested to see what they have.
So they sort of issue a proposal with sort of where there's gaps.
Yeah, so they look at lots of maps, and they look at crashes and, accident reports and traffic flows and all those types of things.
Okay.
And, identify east-west corridors, north-south corridors, school access, 4 corners or,
Right.
Places of interest.
Yeah.
And there's, lots of keywords. And then they just try to put all that together in some sort of, actionable plan. So the county did one a couple of years ago. Some of the other local towns have them, so it's, it's having a moment, like a lot of other things right now. Yeah, so kudos to the town board for, putting Penfield on it, and, hopefully it bears fruit, and not
Yeah.
just a plan that gets put in a drawer, right?
Right.
That's, everybody agrees with that, right?
Were there any results from the big survey yet?
They had a lot, was it 800 or 600? 600, I
600,
think
I
they
believe,
said,
yeah.
responses, which was a pretty significant number for that. They didn't, I don't think they had parsed through them. It actually was even still open, I think.
Yeah,
at
it was
that
still
point.
open there. You said it was
So,
still open for another
So
week or so.
no
Yeah.
results, but they were very happy with the number of responses they'd received. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it goes hand in hand, with this committee's review of the Parks and Rec Master Plan too, that big new
Yep.
section on connectivity.
Yep.
How do we get to places safely, being able to walk, bike, run, hike. So all good stuff to kind of keep that momentum going forward from kind of those discussions at the master plan. So yeah, kudos to you and the rest of the community and stakeholder groups.
Yep.
Okay, after that, we'll go do some other business, and nothing on there, and then the held items, the trails and kiosks, with no really updates on that, so.
All I'd say from the Trails Committee, we did sort of the kiosk, guidance, that was done last year. I think that's good. Signage standardization, so Tim actually came to our last Trails Committee meeting, and we had, just off the top of our heads, a list of areas that could use signage, better signage, and we, heard some things about shadows. And Tim said that they're more than happy to do that from the Parks Department, but they asked the Trails Committee to come up with a proposal for how to standardize the signage. We see lots of different ad hoc things, and like at Sherwood, there's some secondary trails with different signs, that, no commonality at all. So Trails Committee's taken that on, and, people are going to bring pictures and ideas to our next meeting, and, we'll try to come up with something that we can run by, probably this committee, the town board, whatever. And, so probably wouldn't be actionable until next year, but we'll move that forward.
It's been about 3 to 4 years worth of discussing it and getting here, so a lot of time and effort. I think it's culminating to a kind of a nice standardized kiosk for 2026 with the new maps, with the information.
Right.
So again, kudos to Trails Committee for all the time and effort. It's a big haul.
Yes, it is. Okay, we don't have any old business. We do have some new business. I'm going to give Steve a couple minutes to talk about some disc golf.
Yeah, real quick. In July, I shared some statistics with everybody on the board here about the play, how Shadow Pines compares to courses around the world and courses in the United States. As a reminder, is number 1 in New York State in terms of rankings, number 23 in the United States, and 113 worldwide. And then Bob said, well, can we get some perspective on that? So I reached out to the folks at UDisc. And remember, UDisc is an application that not everybody uses. Many recreational disc golfers don't use it at all. So they estimate that it probably accounts for probably about, what were they saying? Probably about a third to about a half all the rounds played are registered on UDisc. So I asked the people at UDisc, can you give me some perspective on that from worldwide courses? And there's they gave me the stats on 3 worldwide courses that are they're evaluated and rated and ranked by reviews, the amount of play that they get, and then course ratings that are stored within UDisc. So there's a bunch of things that go into that in terms of kind of producing the top 3 courses in the world. And the number 1 course is in Norway, and as of the beginning of September in 2025, they had about 25,000 players. Now, put that in perspective, Shadow Pines, at that same point in time, has about 14,000 players. So
Wow.
we're doing pretty well. I mean, a little bit more than half the amount of players in the number 1 course in the world. And then the second course happens to be 3 courses, 2 18s and a 9-hole beginner course. That one happens to be in Sweden, and they average about 24,000 as well, so just under that. They're coming out to that number for September. And then number 3 in the world rankings is actually a course in the United States. It's in Leicester, Massachusetts, and they have, as of about, interestingly enough, as of September, they had about 13,000. So they're actually under the number of players that Shadow Pines has. So Shadow Pines is still growing. It's still, the ratings and rankings are growing over time and getting better and better. The course manicure and the upkeep and the types of things that are done to enhance the players' player experience are very impressive, and those are continue to increase the rankings. But I think it's really interesting that the amount of play that happens at Shadow Pines is that significant when compared to the top 3 courses in the world. And that's a testament to, again, the folks that constructed the course and the town for their dedication in maintaining what a great facility. And it just seems to get better and better all the time. And I'll add to that, there's other courses in the area here that are opening up that are contributing to a tug on players to go check out the new places, but the Shadow Pines numbers remain consistent. So I just wanted to share that with the board.
Thank you. That's great. It's nice to have some very good perspective, because we sometimes just look at our bubble and try to have a gauge on how we're doing compared to everybody else, especially worldwide. That's amazing. It really is.
Interesting, they're all northern or cold weather locations,
Well, they
too,
always
right?
sort out at the top of the happiness ratings, too, those Scandinavian
go.
countries.
So a lot of that is mature trees. A lot of the disc courses like to have tactical challenges.
Okay.
So, if you've got mature forests and trees, it's really, yeah. I can tell you some stuff. But, so that's my perspective on that. So
Right.
I think that goes into it as well. And I think worldwide, it also is really caught on in a lot of other countries a lot quicker than it is caught on because of the, we've got so many different sports and opportunities for kids and families in the United States here that maybe aren't available in some of the other places. So anyway, I think it's a pretty interesting statistic.
Yeah,
We should be
It
proud.
is.
great stats. I did want to tag on that we recently signed a form with Rochester Disc Golf to go to, I believe it's the state level, to host one of the state kind of open tournaments, and I believe it's 2028. So they're already starting to bid those sort of projects, and we did pass on a letter of recommendation of having it at Shadow Pine. So, fingers crossed, we can start to get some of those larger tournaments here. But yeah, just good stuff for the area.
I think those requests will increase, especially when the facility gets completed. I know that talking to the guys from the Disc Golf Club, they are very excited about how that's shaping up, and they already envision tournaments and celebrations and award ceremonies out on the patio.
Nice.
So very exciting.
Wonderful.
So is there thought to monetize that to a degree? I mean, that's a draw that we would end up with hotel occupancy, restaurant business.
From the town's perspective, obviously, any event like that, as long as we can, accommodate it, yes. We have our fee structure, at least for the town, for when we charge for events like these. For disc golf tournaments currently, we don't charge the fees, and that's mainly because we provide portable restrooms. We don't have those facilities yet. It's the intention of when the Clark House is online, has those standard public restrooms, they'll start to pay those fees. We have an agreement in place with them. So we've kind of just been waiving the fees for a little bit. Any outside organization or group that has used it, we have charged those fees to monetize it. So there hasn't been many. Most of them have been through Rochester Disc Golf. I think there's only been like 2 or 3, but we do have that fee structure in place.
Do you know if the Shadow Pines course is big enough to accommodate a significant tournament?
Yeah.
Or would they have to use other courses in the area?
So whenever they have a significant tournament in this area, it's usually across a couple facilities.
Okay.
So the most recent one was the AFDO, which they had a big one last year, the American Flying Disc Open, which is the longest running tournament in the history of disc golf. started by a local legend, Jim Palmieri and
Palmieri.
Company. So, this year, I think they played at Parma one day and then Shadow Pines the next day. And that
Okay.
wasn't to distribute the load for the players, that was just to give some diversity in play
Okay.
for the players. So I think the larger tournaments will always want to play at multiple facilities if they have that opportunity, but there'll always be a core kind of home-based facility. And with the upcoming facility being finished at Shadow Pines
That would be a
and the
nice home
location of
base.
Shadow Pines, it's really very amenable to
Yeah.
having a large gathering to really celebrate the end of a tournament. I was out there for a couple tournaments this year, and guys got their discs booths set up to
Sure.
be able to share and sell the discs that they have. They had I don't think we had a food truck this year, had a food truck last year, but that will be increasing. But anyway, to answer your question, it's usually distributed, but that's more for the experience.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think the tournament last year, that overflow from the larger tournament, the Disc Golf Association was really looking at that U-Disc feedback to look towards, hey, can we have future events like this? Is the course good enough? And it was very highly rated from what I heard from Rochester Disc Golf. So that's what kind of spurred that, hey, okay, let's start bidding for those 3 years out. So
It's great for
exciting stuff.
spectators, too, because of the walking paths that kind of meander through the disc course already.
Yeah.
So it's perfect for people watching the disc golf. I know I came out to one of the tournaments, and it was really simple to bounce around between a couple of different holes and see a whole variety of shots. So
And those paths aren't in the fairways or
they kind of are in a couple of places.
in a couple of spots,
Yeah.
but for the most
For
part.
the most part,
yeah,
they're off the
in
beaten
good
path, and they're
spots.
very well identified.
Yeah.
People know about them, and in most cases, the disc committee will put a out-of-bounds marker just to help. It doesn't stop the flying disc from flying into a path, but it certainly helps guide the shots a little bit. And then I think that the last thing, as I will say, and I've said this before, is that all the disc players in town here are very conscious of the people walking through the park and that it's a shared facility. And in the few years that I've been playing at Shadow Pines, I haven't seen any problems or issues. And I think everybody's getting along with the pedestrians and the disc golfers, and I think everything's working out pretty well.
Wonderful. Okay, Andrew, did you receive any public feedback since the last meeting?
Nothing to share here with this committee. Yes,
Okay.
always getting feedback, but
Okay.
nothing for this committee.
I actually have two questions. One kind of a periphery thing. Can we get any kind of information on just what's going on with the quarry and the flying rocks?
Yeah, I know it was being investigated by Dolomite.
Okay.
I haven't heard any updates. I know the town, I can't speak to anything that I've heard down at the Recreation Department. That was the last I heard in regards to that, but I'd like to think when that information is provided,
Right.
the town will,
Right. The-
communicate that.
I did reach out to see if we had an update last week, and New York DEC is kind of leading up the investigation with Dolomite, and they're still looking into it, but they will share as soon as they have information, and then the town will share that.
Okay.
But I believe they still are not blasting until they determine the cause,
Yeah, I haven't heard any.
right?
And I'm in the area.
Which is the right thing.
Yeah, I heard
Yeah.
that and felt that one when it went off, and I could actually hear the debris falling.
Oh,
So I
wow.
knew that there
No.
was some problem with that blast.
The other issue is after the cross-country meet, they put a bunch of marker flags and just some stuff out. Didn't get picked up particularly well, and when Tim's guys did the mowing, whacked over, so there's some debris from the cross-country meets that I don't know if we can ask.
Yeah, certainly. We, in pretty much September up till mid-October with all the different meets, whether it's, Penfield School District, Monroe County, or some outside organizations, the Christian Catholic public school or private schools that utilize that. I know they communicate with Tim a lot, so I can follow up. That's the first I heard about, some stuff has been left out here and there. Usually if there's a race one day and they're going to have one the next day. But if some mowers hit it, I'll communicate with Tim, but I'd like to think they are aware of it. But I can follow up.
Okay, so our next meeting is going to be November 18th. Same here, 6 o'clock at the Town Hall. We're changing it because of Veterans Day is on a normal day. We'd have our meeting.
Hey, Bill, just a clarification on the Trails Committee hike on November 8th. Our original, we have a boot rating of 1, 2, 3, 4 boots. Channing Philbrook's always been listed as 3 boots. I wonder now with the new bridge, that may be, that's a lot easier of a hike, so I don't want people to be scared away by it
Right.
being listed as a 3-boot hike, because with the new bridge, it's pretty easy.
Yeah, yeah. That 3-boot assignment was given with the bad bridges, and it's in print, so it's kind of hard. But when we post it on the rec website and Facebook, and whatever, we could mention that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Meeting adjourned.